Hello everyone, welcome to this video. Thank you very much for clicking on it. I really appreciate it. Today we have another music video from kiso브라이프. So this being another pre-release, but as I understand it, a full group one. Obviously I did a reaction to all the solo music videos on Monday. Absolutely loved them, had a great time, and now we have this. And the official debut and release of everything, I believe, is it this time next week? I think so. It's either Tuesday or Wednesday next week. I can't remember exactly when. But regardless, I'm very, very excited. So By My Neverland is the song. It's making me think of TXT, and that is a gorgeous song. Okay. No, going into this, I have pretty high expectations. I'm not going to lie, just based on how good the solo songs and MVs were. So I'm real excited for this. I'm wondering if this is going to be, you know, the start of where all the individual stories connect and all of that. I don't know, but I'm excited. Let's get into it. All right, 안녕 네버랜드, By My Neverland. Let's do this. This is a very interesting song title based on the stories that we have seen in the solo MVs, because there is kind of that element of breaking away to an extent, like to different extent and in different ways, kind of breaking away from childhood and going through that process of growing up. Like we kind of see little bits of that in different ways throughout the solo music videos. So this is a very interesting thing. Obviously Neverland being the place that you never grew up, you're a child forever, right? And saying goodbye to it is sort of like, okay, it's time for me to kind of move on to the next stage of my life. So this is very interesting. This is why it's making me think that this is all going to be connected. But let's get into it. 3, 2, 1, go. We're going up onto the boards. Yes, we are.
Going round and around. 저 태엽을 더 감지 않아.
Okay.
고른다고 점을 치워. Feel like I'm an old toy. 더 자라지 않는 내 곁에. 앞에 빠진 네 처지려 해서 wait. One more friend.
Focus.
벽장 속에 든 상처. 먼지 쌓인 밤.
That's pretty.
감추지 않아. Don't wanna stay more. I don't care what you say. By my Neverland. 시계 위로 달려. 장면을 넘겨. 멈추고 싶지 않아. We don't care what you say. By my Neverland.
Oh, this is gorgeous. Ooh. Hey! Oh, I got something in my eye. Ah, it's their talent.
My fairy tale won't be beautiful as starlight. 벽장 속에 든 상처, 먼지 쌓인 밤. 난 더 숨고 싶거나 감추지 않아. Don't wanna stay more. I don't care what you say. By my Neverland. 시계 위로 달려. 장면을 넘겨. 멈추고 싶지 않아. Yeah, we don't care what you say. By my Neverland. 돌아보지 않아. 긴 맘을 짓나. 후회했던 위로서 never come back. And they all live happily ever after. 그딴 건 없어. 뻔한 행복을
Ooh, the keys are gorgeous.
So I won't stop my time. 앞에도 잘하고 싶어 난. I get a little bit lonely. 어른이 돼. No, 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 no. I don't care what you say. I'm gonna take a train. 비어버린 playground. 나의 모래성. 두고 가려 해 bye bye. Yeah, we don't care what you say. By my Neverland. 이제 정말
that jacket. Julie! Like, I know she ran out of there without crossing, but... without checking, sorry. Is anyone going to check on her? She just got hit by a car. Oh, man. Ooh, okay. Okay. I'm not gonna lie, that ending kind of threw me off a little bit. I was like, that took a turn. We took a turn that I was not prepared for and I wasn't expecting. Okay, where to begin? Where to start? This is definitely one of those situations where it's kind of hard for me to fully appreciate and listen to the song in its entirety because I'm so focused on the music video and what's going on in the story, which is fine. There's not a problem at all. But it just means that it's hard for me to like properly go into depth about the song. What I will say, just surface level, just listening to it surface level, not going into huge amounts of depth, I really, really like the song, and much like with the solos, very excited for it to be officially released so I can listen to it on repeat. That much I know for certain. But this music video and these stories that they're telling, like, I'm so here for it. I'm so here for it. Like, my trust in S2 as a company is kind of hanging on by a thread. Just, I've been burned by S2 before, and so like my trust in S2 as a company is just like, you're on thin fucking ice, buddies. You're on thin fucking ice. But in saying that, this whole concept, this whole debut process that they've been going through, it's pretty fire. And at least from what I've seen, the general response from people that have checked out the music videos and whatnot, it's being pretty well received, which is exciting. So fingers crossed it all goes well, because like the music is fire, but the stories are so interesting. And I said this when we did the solo ones, but there's certain elements of these stories that we really do not see a lot of in mainstream K-pop, because they're almost kind of taboo topics for idols, right? You know, you've got Nati's character who seemingly homeless, is busking on the street just to make a little bit of money, to get her from A to B, all of that sort of stuff. You have Belle's character who, you know, is kind of being aggressively pressured by the expectations of her parents to be someone that she does not want to be, to the point where she has completely rebelled and seemingly run away from home. Like, ooh, like she's just pieced out. And honestly, like, her story terrifies me because I feel like, I mean, I say that we did just watch Nadi get hit by a car. Up until that point, Belle was the one that I felt was the most like in danger, just because we won't go into detail, but you know what I'm thinking. It's dangerous. And I mentioned that in the solo MV watch the other day. And then you have Julie's character, who is kind of like a wild child. Like, we don't see anything of what her home life is kind of like. She's just kind of a wild child, and that can be fine if you also have stability to fall back on. But she, at least what we have seen of her character, we don't really have that stability. And there's a certain degree of, maybe I'm reading too much into it, but there is a certain feeling of like lost and wandering, like just kind of wandering around, not really knowing what you're doing, and just kind of seeking the next high in a lot of ways, you know, with her character. And then you have, oh my god, why did my brain just give up on me? Hanul, that's the one. Hanul. Then you have her, and she is the most youthful, most childlike character out of the four of them. You know, seems to have relatively stable home life. But she's also living in this very digital world, and there's pressures that come with that. And there's something about her solo MV, and I don't know if anyone else felt this. Maybe it was just because it came after the other three that all had a kind of vaguely unsettling feel to them in different ways. But there was something about Hanul's MV that, while there was a lot of cuteness and sweetness and the song was really bright and bouncy, there was something unsettling. And I could not put my finger on what it was, which is why I didn't talk about it a huge amount. But like thinking about it more, like there was just something unsettling about that whole situation, about her being the most youthful character out of the four of them, and also being in many ways the most exposed, because she's posting all this stuff online. There's this whole like follow account thing, and there's just all these layers to it. So yeah, there's all these aspects that we don't see a ton of explored in K-pop. Like we're seeing more of it, I think, over the last sort of few years especially, but like there's still definitely, I think, with Belle and Nati, with their character stories, that's something we see very, very rarely. And I think it's fascinating that this group from Jump is telling these stories, and exploring these stories in a way that we really rarely get to see in K-pop. Like I think that's very exciting, it's very interesting, it's very important, and it has the potential to be very, very powerful and impactful as well. That paired with the fact that the songs are great and the girls are seemingly very, very talented, we have a recipe for success, everybody. Yeah, I'm very, very interested. I'm very intrigued in this group, in their music, in the stories that they're telling. But let's go through this one more time. I want to try and process the song a little bit more. And also just kind of see if I can glean anything extra from this music video. Let's go.
Going round and around 저 태엽을 더 감지 않아 오르고 오른다고 전부 지워
What is that? What is that? Hold on. I know the word, but my brain's not doing the brain thing today. Okay, it's like an organ. Okay. 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 Cool. Continue. I just want to look that up. I find this really interesting that we have these little overlapping moments. Obviously, we see hints of it in the solo MVs, like these little hints at, you know, where they overlap. But I like that we see a lot more of it, and it's a lot more obvious in this, all building up to that moment at the end where they're all there and watching this accident happen. Her voice right there on that line there. Love the guitars in this song. Something that I find really interesting here is like that whole like I burned my Neverland is like, it's kind of like a statement saying like, hey, I'm not a child anymore. Like I'm growing up, don't treat me like a child anymore. But what's interesting is hearing that juxtaposed with what we're seeing in these music videos, where, with the exception of maybe Julie's character, and Belle's, actually, Belle kind of has that element, but it's Julie's character, I think, is the only one to me where, based on what we've seen in these music videos, like I said, she has that feeling of being kind of like a wild child, and not really having any stability, but we don't know a lot about, like, you know, we don't know anything really about her home life or anything like that. So she's the only one that, based on what we've seen so far, I could kind of understand her being like, hey, don't treat me like a child anymore. Like, I'm growing up. Like, leave me alone. I could totally see that coming from her character. And it being her choice. That's the key thing. It being her choice. With the others, including Belle, excuse me, it feels more like they're being forced to grow up. Like, Nadi's character, very much in a situation that no child should ever be in. And being forced to grow up and be an adult and not enjoy her childhood like other kids can. You have Belle, who in some ways, you know, has made that choice to be her own person and, you know, go against the expectations of her parents, but it was also, she was kind of forced to. She was forced to do that because she was just pushed to the brink, right? And then you have Hanul, who, like I said before, is the most youthful seeming of the four of them, but she still has this pressure on her to kind of grow up and portray an image that isn't necessarily her, because of this, like, online social media aspect of it. I don't know, it's just very interesting. I'm so intrigued. I'm so fascinated by it all. I really, really like this song. It's a really good song. Excuse me. I love the bass there as well. That's a line. That is a line. Over my wallpaper, measure the height of the pain. Okay, Buzz, please. That's another thing that I find interesting. All of their overlaps thus far, there's been movement. Like, it's them passing each other in some way, whether they're walking or in cars or whatever. There's very little, like, static crossing of paths, if you know what I mean. Until we get to the end and everything just stands still for a second and we're all, you know, in that space together. That's a very, very interesting point as well. I will also say as well that in particular, Julie's parts in this, she's moving. She's constantly moving. Like, she's in a car, she's running, she's walking somewhere. Like, there's constant movement from her, which I think kind of plays into that idea that I have of her not having any stability. Again, I might be reading too much into it, but that's just kind of the vibe that I've been getting, because at least with the others, there have been moments where they've been still in this music video. Like, you had, like, right here, for example. You know, Nadi stood out there. We've got Hanul there. You have Belle with she sits by the bridge and she's chilling in the thingamabobby phone box. That one, phone booth, phone box, the same thing. But Julie's just always on the fucking move. She's always moving. That was Nadi by the window, right? I think it was. Right? Yeah. Okay. Sorry, I just had, like, self-doubt for a second there. That line, though. But yeah, Julie is always moving.
숨고 싶거나 감추지 않아. Don't wanna stay more. I don't care what you say. I burn my neverland. 시계 위로 달려 장면을 넘겨 멈추고 싶지 않아. Yeah, we don't care what you say. I burn my neverland. 돌아보지 않아 이 맘을 짓나. 후회 따윈 없어. Never come back. And they all lit up.
I want to squish her cheek so bad.
그딴 건 없어. 뻔한 행복을 바라지.
That's the first moment she's still in this whole music video, I swear to God.
앞에도 잘하고 싶어 난. I get a little bit lonely. 어른이 돼. No, 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 no. I don't care what you say. I'm gonna take a train. 비어버린 playground 나의 모래성 두고 가려 해 bye bye. Yeah, we don't care what you say. I burn my neverland. 이제 정말 떠나 긴 밤을 지나. 후회 따윈 없어. Never come back. I'm living my hometown.
Okay, right. Just before we get to this last minute, I was just looking at the lyrics there, and I think a few things clicked into place. So what I was saying before about the juxtaposition between that whole like I burn my, don't care what you say, I burn my Neverland, versus what we're seeing in the music video, I think that's completely intentional, because I think this song, at least what I'm interpreting from it, it's kind of like it is kind of leaning on that idea that a lot of kids are forced to grow up, and they're like, okay, you know what? You want me to be an adult so bad? Fine. I'm not gonna be a kid anymore. Let me burn all of that shit. Let me leave. Because you're so desperate for me to be an adult. Let me just go out there into this world and be an adult. And it's angry. There is anger there. And I'm really here for this, because yeah, that's a lot of that's something that a lot of kids probably feel. Obviously it's been a while since I was a kid, but like even, you know, over a decade ago, it's still something that I can relate to. And I think kids and teenagers in this point in time, with how pervasive social media and everything has become in our society, and just general pressures of the world placed upon young people, yeah, I could totally see this. There's just there's am I just reading too much into it, or do you guys feel it too, of just like this feeling of just anger and frustration coming off of this song? Because I'm feeling it. Okay, here for it. That I'm sorry at the end. Oof. It's like, no, the world should be apologizing to you. But also, the way no one does anything here is quite telling thematically, but also realistically, it just would not be the case. She'd have at least like a dozen people run up and be like, bruh, are you good? You just got hit by a car. At least where I live, I would run up. I wouldn't just be standing around just like, what's going on? What's this chick doing? It's like, no, I'd be like, okay, you call emergency services. I'm gonna make sure she stays still just in case she's heard something. We don't want to make it worse. You know, I'd go into that mode. I'm that person where like a crisis happens and I go into like get shit done mode. I'm very proud of that. Well, actually, to be fair, it does depend. In this situation, yes, I would. But there are certain situations where I just lose my mind. and I go into panic mode instead, but you know, we never know which one of it's going to be. Anyway, that brings me to the end of that. Yeah, I find this really, really interesting. I'll be very intrigued to hear other people's thoughts and feelings on this song and on the music video and the story in general. And I'll also be very intrigued to see with the title track when that drops next week. I assume we're going to get a continuation here because this, I mean, it's a bit of a cliffhanger. So it'll be very interesting to see how these girls actually come together, because we have the meeting point now. Like, they're all in the same place at the same time, all, you know, involved in the same situation in some way. So it'll be very interesting to see how things evolve from here. But yeah, I find this so interesting and so fascinating. This is the exact kind of thing that I will just feast on this kind of content all day, every day, and I will love it. This is the exact kind of thing that I adore diving into. So yeah, this is right up my street. S2, you're still on thin fucking ice, but I'm on board for now. I'm on board for now. Just treat these girls right, okay? Anyway, I will end this one here. Like I said, let me know your thoughts and feelings on everything. Theories, vibes, all of that sort of stuff. Or even if you don't have any particular theories or vibes, you know, did you enjoy the song? All of that sort of stuff. Anyway, but yeah, thank you guys very much for watching. I will end this one here, and I will see you next week for the title track. Yeah. A group to watch for sure. Thank you guys very much for watching. I will catch you in the next one. Bye-bye.